All right. So like I said, we are at this point. At this point, you should have all 12 of your letters in your green sheet letters document. We're going to start a new document for the other ones. In fact, just for the first 10. And the reason for that is eventually when we're done with this, everybody, old and new students, will be using their letter part files to do drawing files. And the drawing files are going to be sort of their own tab inside of this document. And so if we double up on all of these, it's going to get super crowded here. Yet another reason why it is super critical to name your tabs. Otherwise, you're just not going to be able to find them. We'll get to this at some point, but at this point, all you need is you can go close document, and I always recommend full screen, and let's create a new document. So go ahead and do that. Let's just call this parts 1 through 10. And that seems like a nice even way to divide the next 20. Literally even. And all right, so these are not necessarily in the order of difficulty, 1 through 20, but we are going to do them in order. Some of them will fly by and some will be a lot quicker. So we'll just start with number 1. And hopefully by the end of this, the goal is to get you to think about when you see something that you want to model, meaning design or build in 3D, to think about what the steps would be, to think about whether it's going to be a start with our big chunk and cut away what we don't want, or it's going to be just build the little pieces on top of each other. And for more complex things more complex than excuse me, than this these parts, it's always going to be a combination. It's just impossible to get away from going back and forth between creating material, creating more material, cutting away some of it, creating more, cutting, so on. Okay, so for this one, the way I'm going to demonstrate it, of course, there's always multiple ways to do it, is to think about it in 3 separate pieces. Okay, this piece that extends just this amount. Okay, then this middle piece that extends like this far and is sort of on the inside but cuts back that way. And then the last piece, which is identical to this one. And there's a couple, you can tell that this first 2 inches, or 2 inches, is identical to this back 2. We guess, we can't really see back there. We're just assuming that it's symmetrical. And because they are the same, there's a couple of shortcuts to save you between 10 and 15 seconds of work to do them. Anytime things are duplicated, there's probably a way to either pattern it or multiple extrusion or project the geometry and save you a few seconds. Okay, so we're going to start with this, make this huge long shape right there and extrude it too. And we do have another sloped line, which sloped line, we don't need to know how long it is. It's going to be a decimal number. It's not going to be an exact number, probably. And we don't need to know the angle off of vertical or the angle off of horizontal. As long as we know where this line starts and where it finishes, we can just connect. And because everything that connects to that is just going to be a horizontal or vertical line, we will know where those points are. So the shape we're going to make is going to be the total height, which is 6, right? 1, 2, or is it 5? 1, 2, 5 tall, excuse me, 5 tall. And across the top is 3 there, and 4 more, 7 there, and 9. So 9, 5, and 7. Just line tool. So we'll start a sketch. Might as well sketch on the front plane. Look at it straight on. Get the line tool from origin and go due east. Dimension that. This is going to be our sort of footprint, which is 9. And get the line tool, which keyboard shortcut L. Go straight up. I'm guessing dimension is D. Yep, dimension 5. And then I'm going to keep clicking on the icons because some people might miss what I'm doing. I want you to be able to follow along. And the width here is 7. Or technically it's the length of the line, but it's a sideways length. And we can just connect. And you notice all the lines are black. They're fully constrained, which is what we want. So we can finish the sketch. We can turn off the visibility of all the origin planes because we have our sketch. Look at it from a corner since we're doing a 3D feature, which is extrude. And we need to choose our shape, and we want to extrude it too. And that is the first portion. The second portion is, and there's a couple ways to do this. The first way we are going to, and the reason I'm showing you 2 ways is you might be able to apply these differently, or your brain might work differently. The first thing we're going to do is draw this shape right here. And we should be able to, hold on, let me first check that Onshape has this feature. Find, add symmetric. No, I want asymmetric. And we'll go 2 this way and 4 that way. I think this will work. Yeah, it'll work. So what we're going to do is do a 2-direction extrusion. So we're going to make the shape we want, and then we are going to extrude it 2 this way and 4 that way, because it's the same shape. That'll save us some time. So, well, first let's figure out what the shape is. And the shape is whatever this is, which is 3 across the top and 5 across the bottom, and the full height, and then a slope line that connects. But really, I think we only need to draw this line and dimension the distance from the edge. If you'd rather draw the whole line, which it may require us to do in order to get a closed loop. But either way, start a new sketch on the front. We'll see what this requires from us. We need a line tool that snaps to the top edge, but not the center. Okay, not the center or the corner. And then another one that snaps to the bottom edge, but not the center, and not directly. You can see you get these marching ant construction line directly below the center of the top, which is not the center of the bottom. The center of the bottom is over here. Either way, we don't want to snap it to anything except the edge. And let's get the dimension tool, and dimension, you may need to zoom in to get just the point. Dimension that point to the side. And that should be 3. And the same thing over here from this point to this point. That should be 5. And we should be able to finish sketch. And you can see better when I look at it from an angle because of the colors. But we'll extrude, and won't let us choose this. It will. And so what we need to do, we want to have what we want to come to in the direction that we're looking. And then, I don't know why it's going so slow. We want a second end position. And the other end position is 2 out the other way, but we got to cover distance 2 just to get to that. So it's going to be a distance of 4. And there you go. Okay, so that saved a little bit of time rather than drawing the sketch twice. The other way that you don't, I mean, obviously you don't have to do it both ways. What matters is you made it. Is to, once you have the sketch, which we already do. How's it going? Once we have the sketch, we'll do just a regular extrusion in the distance this direction. And once we have this, what we're going to do is start a sketch on this face, and we're going to project the geometry, meaning all of the lines here, which 3 of them are the same, but all of that entire face will show up here on our sketch without having to sketch it. So we'll start a sketch on the back face, and you can see we're sketching. We have our sketch plane there. Go back to the front, and the tool is called Use, Project/Convert. We want that tool, and we just need to click on the face, and you can see where it is proposing that shape on the back there. And if we click on this face, it will then draw that shape on the back. And we will need this for there's another part that will require this. But either way, that is another way to do it. And so we have our sketch on the back. We just need to extrude it a distance of 2. So either way saves a little bit of time. We do have left. Okay. So there you go. That is, let's rename it. Right click, rename, part 1. Easy peasy. All right. So create part studio and new one. Let's go ahead and rename it now. Part 2. And I'd like to get through all of these in 3 or 4 classes. So we need to get through at least 4 or 5 of these today, just to give you a heads up of how far we're going. So part 2, I think part 2 is easier to do subtractive. Start with our big chunk of marble and then cut away what we don't want, which is just a single sketch. From the top, we can draw this shape and then cut extrude it down to, which is what we're going to do. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. We need to start with our main chunk, which is 4 tall and 1, 5, 8 wide. So 4 by 8 and extrude it 6. So start a sketch on the front. Look at it straight on. Rectangle. That is 8 wide. 4 tall. And we can finish the sketch. Look at it from a corner. Turn off visibility of the origin plane. Yeah, go for it. And extrude our, that doesn't look right. Hold on. Edit. Nope, it's right. Extrude this a distance of 6. Why does it not look right? I guess it's right. It's just perspective. So, good morning. So all we need to do is draw our single sketch on the top face. That is going to be the shape of sort of this part that gets cut out. I mean, it will be the shape of the part that gets cut out, but we have to draw it here on the top face. And we are going to draw the two slope lines first, which is just this line connects to here, and this line connects to here. And dimension them. So we're sort of drawing these triangles or trapezoid triangles, and then we're going to cut away the remainder, sort of. So on this side, we have a sloped line that is 1 inch from the side here. And 5 from the side here. And this slope line is 2 from the side this way and 3 from the side that way. So let's see if we can do this all in one step. 5, 1, 2, 3. So let's look at it. Let's sketch on the top. Look at it from the top face. Line tool snaps to the bottom edge somewhere, not the corner, not the center. And then snaps to the top edge. Same thing, not the corner, not the center, just somewhere on the edge. And we can dimension the distance from, and we need to get the point. There you go. That point to there needs to be 5. And this one needs to be 1. And then the other line connects the same thing from the bottom edge to the right side edge. And actually, we can snap it to the center point here, because what we're trying to go 3 from the front and the whole thing's 6. So you can just snap to that center point. Save you a second. And we just need to dimension the distance from here to the corner is 2. There you go. Everything's fully constrained. And we just need to finish the sketch and extrude. Choose this, switch it to remove, and remove down a distance of 2. There you go. Part 2. Part 3. Part 3 also easy. It's kind of difficult for new people to do this, just to figure out the path to get there. But once you see it, it'll be super easy. And this is part 3. So for this one, we're going to do additive. Just create. Guys, can you keep it down, please? Also, can you put the food away? Thank you. We're going to start with just this wedge, which we've done similar things first, or similar things before. And we're going to extrude it 5. Then we just have to make this sort of wedge extension. We'll get to that in a second. So this first main part is 5 tall, 3 wide at the top, 8 across the bottom, and then connect, and then extrude 5. So it's 5, 3, 8, and then 5 thick. So let's do a sketch. Front face, straight on, line tool, 8 this way. Remember, line and then dimension, line, dimension, line, dimension. Will save you some hassle. And dimension this way. It's 5 tall. And a line goes this way. Make sure you snap to horizontal or vertical, as the case may be. This is 3. And then a line that connects our endpoints. Nice. Finish the sketch. Let's turn off origin, planes, and point. Look at it from a corner. Extrude. Choose our shape and extrude it to 5. Okay, so this part that sticks out, one of the mistakes or the wrong way many people will do would be to put a sketch here and draw a rectangle that goes like this and extrude that. Nope, hold on. And then extrude. Well, I don't know why it's not giving me, but you can tell that that's not what I want. It's not going to work. Yeah. So this obviously makes the wrong shape. So we don't want that. The way we're going to do this is, we don't want the sketch there. There's a couple ways we could do this. We could put a sketch on this side, on the back, and draw the shape that we want, like that, with just a rectangle, and extrude it forward. Or we could put a sketch on this side and draw a square and extrude it to the left, which are really to the right, technically. We're gonna do the first way. So the shape we need to make is really just a triangle, but we're gonna use the square tool just because it gives us better constraints and built-in constraints. And it needs to be 3 by 3. So let's put a sketch here on the back face. And we'll look at it straight on, get a rectangle, snaps to this corner, and the other end, I think it's fine if it snaps to the line, but it doesn't have to, because we're going to put in both dimensions. And we'll dimension this to 3, and this also to 3. Finish the sketch, look at it from some corner, and extrude. And we can actually just extrude the bit there. You do need to switch it to add so that it doesn't, hold on, let's see here. Can we switch back? Good. Okay, so you need to switch direction. I don't think new will work, but switch it to add and make sure you're going towards the shape. And we want to add, it's 3 inches to the front. And there's part 3. Okay, I think we're going to do one more today and then take time to catch up and whatnot. Actually, we'll do 2 more. We'll go through 5. I need to get through this. All right, so that's it for 3. Let's make a new one for 4. Create Part Studio. Rename the tab Part 4. And for this one, always a couple ways to do things. I think we'll start with a big block and then cut away these shapes from the top, which will be sort of up here, and then extrude them down. And then for these, we'll do a chamfer, although you could always do a cut extrude also. But let's start with the big chunk, which is 3, 2, and 3. So 8 wide to 5 tall and 5 deep. So 8 by 5 by 5. Start a sketch on the front plane, straight on, rectangle, snap to the origin and dimension it. 8 wide, 5 tall, and let's finish the sketch. Turn off the origin planes, it just gets busy, and look at it from a corner, extrude, choose our shape, and what do we say, 5. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is make these 2 sort of shelves. The way we're going to do it is draw those same 3 by 3 rectangles on the top and cut extrude them down 3, sort of push them down, and we can do it in the same step since they're both extruded the same distance and the same direction. So let's put a sketch on the top, look at it straight on from the face called top, and get a rectangle, snaps to this front corner, and we'll dimension it in a second. Snaps to this front corner, dimension it in a second. Dimension tool. All of the dimensions are 3 wide and 3 tall. And once we have that, we can finish sketch, look at it from a corner, extrude, choose both of the rectangles we made, switch it to remove, and remove 3. Okay, so to make these last two features, the two sloped faces, one way you could do is to put a sketch on this face and then just draw the line, draw this line and cut extrude this all the way over and do almost the same thing over here where you draw this line, which would be from here to here and cut extrude what's left over. That's fine. We're not going to do that. What we're going to do is use the chamfer tool, which you can see from the little pictograph up there. Or if you mouse over, it'll tell you. Chamfer does this sloped edge, like a knocked off edge. And it's a part feature. It's also a sketch feature if you want to make sort of that in two-dimensional, but we don't do that much. So we'll just go ahead and chamfer. And we want to, you choose the edge you want to cut, which is this edge right here. You got to find just that line. And for this first one, the first one is, okay, so this is what we have right now. We want the cut to start 3 inches back this way and 3 inches back this way. So we could type 3 in for both of the dimensions and that would work. Or you could switch it to equal distance and just set it to 3. And it will cut off 3 inches. The dimension is the distance from the edge that you selected. So we have 3, which is from this edge that we chose, 3 inches that way and 3 inches that way, and it makes this 45-degree slope. And once we have that, you can do check mark and we're good. And the other one is a two distance chamfer, which it is because we know this is 3 and what we want left over is 1. That means the distance from here to here has to be 2. And the distance from here to here is 3. So we want 2 distances. One of them is 2 and one of them is 3. One is 2 inches, the other is 3 inches. So chamfer tool again, choose the edge that we want, switch from equal distance to 2 distances. And the 2 distances we want are 2 and 3. And depending on which it's counting from, you may need to switch the values, in which case it would be 3 and 2 instead of 2 and 3. It's hard to tell which one it considers distance 1, but it doesn't matter because you can always just switch it super easy. And so we want 3 and 2 and hit check mark. There you go, part 4. And the last one for today is this one, the one that looks like a house. So let's go ahead and make a new create part studio. And that's this one over here. Let's rename it part 5. And let's think about how to do this one. So this one, I think the easiest way to do it, even though I'd consider this the front of the house, this is still the front of our, part universe. It's still, this is the front. I'm going to draw this shape first, this pentagon, and extrude it the total distance. Then we're going to draw this shape. Well, you'll see in a second. It's actually 2 steps to do this, and extrude it out, and then draw the triangle and extrude it back, because it's kind of difficult to do this. I guess we could do it in 2 distances and extrude it. Well, we'll get to that in a second. Okay, so to make this the correct, wow, that's loud, correct shape, we're going to start with a rectangle like this, and then draw a line from this very center straight up, and that will give us this point, and then we can just connect down. And we could do it with construction lines, but it's fine to do it with regular lines. So our rectangle is 3 tall and 6 wide. There is a polygon tool, but I think it's usually a regular polygon. And well, let's see. Just for double checking first, it's 3 tall, 6 wide, and from the center, it's 2 up, and then it connects. Let's look at sketch. And there is, how do we get to polygon? Oh yeah, polygon. Yeah, so as far as I can tell, polygons are always going to be regular polygons, which is useful. But I think there's just too many possibilities for irregular ones. So let's get a rectangle, dimension the width to 6 and the height to 3. And then, like I said, well, do we have construction lines? No. Let's just do a line, find this exact center point because that top part of the roof is centered. So first click on the center point, second click straight up of whatever distance, because we're going to dimension it to 2. And once we have that, we can just connect down from here to here, and then from here to here. Okay, and we can turn off the origin planes and finish the sketch in whatever order, and then extrude, and we want to extrude everything we made. So all 3 areas and the total distance, which was 8. All right, so what we have left is the front door-y kind of part. And this shape is 3 tall, 4 wide, and 1.5 off of that. But we also need to account for the fact that it is 2 in from the side. And normally the way I do this, actually, yeah, let's do it the normal way. Let's not overthink it. The way we're going to do this is just draw the rectangle we want for our final product and extrude it out this distance, which is 2. And once we have this block sticking out, which will be like this, we're then going to draw this triangle on the front face, or the right face technically, and extrude it all the way back to the roof. So it's going to be 2 steps. Let's look at it straight on from the right, which is this face, or sketch on the right, look at it straight on. And we need a rectangle that snaps to the bottom edge, but not the corner or the center for the first click, and the second click on the top edge, but it's not the top edge of everything, the top edge of this face, which is right there. And so there, and so we've got the height constraint. We don't need to dimension the height. What we need to dimension is the width, which in this case, well, it will let you select just the width of the shape. Sometimes it doesn't, in which case what you're dimensioning is the distance from here, first click, to here, second click, and then third click in between. It's another one of the 3-click dimensions. Either way, the distance between these blue lines is 4, but they're not black yet because we can still move the entire thing. And in order to solve that, we need to dimension the distance from the side of our rectangle to the side of everything, and that should be 2. Now it's fully constrained. You can see where our dimensions are. Finish sketch, extrude, choose this, and we want to make sure that it's on add and not new, because when it's new, it's kind of creating another part, and you can tell because it's gray. We want add, and we want a distance of 2. Hit OK. So the only thing we have left is to draw the triangle roof part, and then, which is going to go right here, and extrude it all the way back to the roof. And the shape of that is from the center of our rectangle, it's up 1.5. So let's put a sketch on this face right here. Look at it straight on. And let's get a line from the exact center point because the thing is centered. Go straight up, dimension it to 1.5. Then get our line tool to actually draw the shape, which is from there to there, already dimensioned or already constrained. And then another line from here to there, already constrained. And we can finish sketch, extrude, choose both of our rectangles, switch it to add, switch direction, and we want merge with all. No, what's up? Yes. Let's do up to next. So change blind to up to next, and it will just extrude whatever it needs to. All right, let me do that again, just so we don't, took me a second to find that. To next is what it's called. So we're going to extrude and choose both of our rectangles, and will to next work going this direction? It will not. So it's trying to go to next to the right, and there's nothing there. So we just need to switch direction and make sure still we are on add instead of new. And there we go. Okay. If we didn't have up to next, we would have to sort of figure out that distance, which would be this direction, add, and then sort of figure out whatever distance goes into the house, but not through the house, which also works, but to next is a lot cleaner, more elegant. And there you go. That's part 5. Okay, I will check the letters next time. So you need to get them done. And if you need help, let me know. And if you're having trouble keeping up, if you work on whatever video we did last time during class, so that you're exactly 1 day behind, you'll be fine. You can also do this outside of class. So do that. Okay.